Okay, so this is probably going to be one of the most actionable trainings that you actually watch on creating offers, which you can actually, create the offer and then take to your market and instantly see an increase in results. And I can say that with pure confidence because not only is this one of the things that we implemented when around the start of the year, we had a problem internally of we just couldn't make cold ads work for our offer, right? So our offer right now is we guarantee booked calls for agency owners and coaches, right? And I ran that as an offer to cold traffic. And although my offer was really good, there was a small tweak that I made that allowed us to go from literally not booking any calls to booking a ridiculous amount of calls. I think we're at about $150 right now, cost per book call. Spending about $500-600 a day right now. Super profitable stuff, right? And so, as I say, there was one change and it was based on the offer, but it's not how most people think, right? It's not what most people think about the offer. People think about your offer as like, we'll guarantee this result. And whilst that's part of the offer, it's not the whole thing, right? Super important. And this is the same stuff that we implement for our clients as well when they first come on board with us, because every time we bring on a new client for the agency, like their offer is never in place. And I've never had a client where they came on and we've used the same offer that they joined us with. We've always tweaked it. We've always changed it. And really what we do is we implement this exact same framework, which I'm going to show you in this training, for their own offer. And now, for example, with one of our clients, I just got a message from him today letting us know that he signed 3 clients in the first 30 days of working with us. He signed 3 new clients. Now, 3 new clients might not sound a lot. His average, or not his average, his retainer is 10K per month. So he's added an extra 30K a month in recurring revenue in the first 30 days of working with us. Another one of our clients right now is booking in $62 cost per booked calls. Okay, $62 cost per book call. His acquisition, cost per acquisition, is CPA on the ads that we're running for him, because we do, we run ads done for you for agency owners and coaches, as I say. His CPA on the ads is $250. That's to acquire the client. That's not to book in the call. His cost per book call is $62. CPA is $250. His offer is $2K a month. Ridiculous, right? And again, really, all of that is really built and based on the fact that we've built the offer in the way that we have. And again, the way that we built those offers for those clients and the tweaks that I've made to my own offer, which again took us from our ads not working to them performing at a high level, is really exactly what I'm going to go through in this video. So with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So as I say, a lot of people look at the offers only from one aspect, which is a result and a guarantee. That's how most people look at their offer. It's like, okay, what can I guarantee my clients? What offer can I make to my clients? How can I, what outcome can I say? Oh, I'll guarantee you 100K a month. I'll guarantee this. I'll guarantee. And then that's as far as their thought process goes on offers. But there's one key fundamental change that you need to make to your offers, which will have a huge impact on the offer that isn't the result or the guarantee. And that's your solution. Now, when I say your solution, I don't mean like, to be honest, sometimes it might require you to change your entire delivery model. But that's really not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is 4 key sub aspects to the solution overall. And those 4 key sub aspects, first of all, we need 0 effort, okay? Or as close to 0 as possible. This is also why done for you is always an easier sell than done with you or do it yourself. Okay, so when I say 0 effort, what I mean is in order for your client to get the result that you're promising them, you need to make it as close to 0 input from their end in order for them to get that result. Okay, now you can also have a hybrid offer, which is what we have. So we have a done for you / done with you, like our offer is done for you / done with you. So there is a hybrid there. You don't have to choose one or the other. But if you can, even if you can make done for, even if you can make a part of your service, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, just a part of your service done for you, that is going to be extremely attractive to your prospects. Now, this goes back to the story that I said before. At the start of the year, we couldn't make our ads work, right? On cold traffic, these people had no idea who we are, etc., etc. We couldn't make those ads work. They just wouldn't convert for whatever reason. And at the time, I didn't know the reason until I switched my offer. Now, I didn't change the promise, right? We still had the same promise, which at the time we was doing 50 guaranteed sales calls in the next 90 days for your agency or coaching business, or you don't pay. That was the offer. Now, I didn't change the offer. All I changed was I made it a done for you service. So prior to us doing done for you for clients, we used to have a course and we used to teach people how to get more sales calls. Now, one thing obviously we noticed is obviously no one wants another course nowadays, right? Especially in the agency, coaching space, high ticket space, like no one wants another course. They just want a done for you solution. They just want the result without them needing to do anything. And so that's when I then brought out the done for you element. So I literally restructured our entire delivery model, and I hired a bunch of new people and whatnot, and I really built out the back end. And then obviously that allowed me then to go to ads and restate the offer to be, and literally this was the only change I made. It was the same offer, 50 guaranteed sales calls in the next 90 days for your ATL coaching business, or you don't pay. This is all I changed. I added in completely done for you. That's all I added in. And so because I repositioned my solution, right, to be done for you, my offer all of a sudden became exponentially more valuable, and instantly that made our ads start to book in. As I said before, we were booking in kind of ranges really, but it's probably anywhere between $100 and $150 cost per qualified booked call. That's not cost per call total. I think our cost per call total is about $70, $80, but obviously some are unqualified. So our cost per MQL, or marketing qualified lead, qualified book call, is anywhere between $100 and $150. And that's all I changed, was the solution. Okay, so it's really important. And so as I say, people want zero effort. They don't want to have to jump through a bunch of hoops, right? Same thing as I say here. They also want the solution to be easy. Okay, if the client needs to write 3 500-page books, hire 25 key employees, and train their entire team on a new methodology to get the result that you're promising, it doesn't matter if you guarantee that result. They won't do it. So again, this goes back to what I was saying before. If you just look at your offer from a result and guarantee standpoint, it's like, here's the result and we'll guarantee it. That's only part of the equation, right? That's only part of the conversation. Because if they have to, even if you are guaranteeing them the most desirable outcome that they want, like they really want whatever it is that you're guaranteeing, if your solution requires them, as I say, and this is quite extreme, but you get the point, if it requires them to write a book, right, to get the result, they're never gonna do it, no matter how good the front end offer is. Okay, so it needs to be easy. It needs to require no effort from their end. It needs to be fast. Okay, you need to deliver the result as close, and this is a bit here I got from Hormozi. He talks about this a lot, which is basically you need to deliver the desired result as close to the moment that they pay the invoice with the least amount of effort from the client's end. If you could make it where they pay the invoice and they get the result, that is like, as Hormozi said, that's infinitely valuable. That is the most valuable offer that you could physically ever have. Now, that's near enough impossible within reason, right? For most service-based businesses, you can't get someone to pay and they get the result there and then, but you want to try and decompress the time between the point that they pay and the point at which they get the result, right? And again, how does this tie into your offer? Well, it goes back to your offer, because now you can say in your offer, we'll get you this result in this time frame. So if you can make that time frame, in the next 7 days, that's going to be a whole lot more valuable than in the next 12 months. Right now, there is also a line there that you need to be careful of, because if you have a ridiculous claim of like one of our clients offers right now is we'll guarantee to scale you to $1 million a month. That's his offer. Now, obviously, if that was his offer and then the time frame for his offer was 7 days, it's not believable. No one's going to believe it, and so no one's going to respond to it. So you need to make sure that you balance that fine line, because there is a fine line between believability and a really desirable offer, right? So with my client who's doing the $1 million a month, his offer is $1 million a month in the next 12 months. So even though it is a longer time period, we're guaranteeing you to scale to $1 million a month. Like, that's a really big outcome, right? So if we was to say in the next 90 days, it just wouldn't do as well as it is doing right now, because no one would believe it, right? But in most cases, unless you've got a ridiculous claim like we'll guarantee you $1 million a month, most of the other times, like for example with my offer, it's like we'll guarantee you 50 qualified sales calls. I say in the next 90 days, because again, that's still believable, right? We've actually now gone to we'll guarantee you 3 sales calls per day, just because we want to work with a high caliber client who's kind of already doing, $50K a month or more. And they typically have a lot more budget to throw at ads, which is why initially we only did 50 calls in 90 days, because, the ad budget typically was like $100 a day, right? There is only so many sales calls you can book if you're spending $100 a day. But now we're looking at clients who are doing $300 to $500 a day. So now we can guarantee 3 calls a day, right? But anyway, aside from the point, the final point here on the solution side of things is we want the solution has to be different and superior to everything else that they've tried. Really important. Okay, this is a quote that I got from Cole Gordon, and basically it says that your solution, right, needs to act as the simultaneous explanation as to why everything they've tried in the past has failed and why this is going to be different. Okay, so a lot of you guys who watch this channel are probably in the e-commerce space. I used to be pretty deep in the e-commerce space as well, so I'm going to use this example because a lot of people are going to understand it. If you have an e-commerce agency and your offer is we'll guarantee to increase your current ROAS using Facebook ads or you don't pay. Even though the offer is I think the offer can be a lot better, to be honest, right? Like, I've seen that offer a lot. It could be a lot better, but the offer still is okay, right? We'll guarantee to increase your current ROAS or you don't pay. It's not a bad offer. But the problem is, the solution you've mentioned there is Facebook ads. And so the entire market of e-commerce is sick and tired of Facebook ads because they've tried it in the past and it's never worked out for them. Or they've tried another Facebook ad agency in the past and that never worked out for them either. And so when you come in with your offer and say, hey, we'll run your Facebook ads for you, well, you're not explaining how, number one, you're different, because you're not different, because you're doing the exact same thing as everyone else is doing, which is Facebook ads. And you're definitely not superior, because the way that the prospect perceives you is the same as what everyone else is doing. So how are you different, or how are you superior? Now, one thing I just mentioned that I kind of glazed over, which is really important to make a note on, is it's based on how the client perceives it. Because at the end of the day, I know, and you know, as like, you know, agency owners and high ticket coaching business owners and whatnot, like Facebook ads still work, period. They do. We run it for clients, right? But the thing is, right, as we both know, it's not whether or not either in this case it's Facebook ads, but you know, it's whatever solution it is that you're offering that might be saturated in your market. It's not whether or not that solution works, because it does work. So the question becomes, how well does it work? But the problem is that when you're doing your marketing, you're doing your outbound emails, you're running your ads, whatever it is that you're doing, clients don't give you the time of day to explain, here's why this actually works. They just mentally opt out as soon as they see Facebook ads. In this case, in the e-com agency space, if they see Facebook ads, they're instantly going to opt out mentally and scroll past your ad because they're like, oh, I've tried it in the past, it doesn't work. Oh, I've tried it in the past, it doesn't work. So you have to reposition the entire thing to be different and to be superior. As I say, if it's not different, then they're going to instantly, as soon as they see whatever it is, Facebook ads in this case, they're going to opt out. Instantly. It happens all the time. And again, we had this problem as well initially, because one of the ways that we get our clients results is we install a VSL funnel. Now, I realized this exact same thing happened in my market. Every single agency owner and coaching business, or not everyone, but everyone who was qualified, who's, you know, doing, as I say, like ideally at the time, it was looking at like minimum 25K a month agency owners and coaches. Now we've bumped it up a little bit, just because we've seen our best clients are people who are already at like 50, 60K a month, and we scale them to, you know, 200-300 a month, whatever. However, we've noticed that every client or prospect who was at 25K a month plus with their agency had tried a VSL funnel in the past and it didn't work for them. And so again, we ran into the issue of people were just ignoring our ads, or they were opting in, but they were rarely booking in calls. We didn't have that high conversion rates initially because I realized people were opting out of our message because I mentioned the fact that we installed a VSL funnel for them. And so as soon as I said VSL, they were like, oh, I've tried it in the past, doesn't work. And then they just left, right? And so what I had to do is I had to repackage that VSL funnel into what now I call the Frontal Cortex funnel. And although it's a VSL, again, it's not whether a VSLs work or not, because they do work, right? But the prospects don't see it like that. They just think, oh, they don't work. And obviously that's incorrect, because they do work. But again, they don't look at it like that. And so in those cases, what you need to do is you need to reposition what it is that you're offering in a different way. And the way that you reposition it needs to be different, and it needs to be superior from the prospect's perspective. Does that make sense? So the way that we repositioned the VSL funnel is we repositioned it to a Frontal Cortex funnel. And I go through this explanation, which is really our unique mechanism, which is the Frontal Cortex funnel. The reason it works so well is because it's optimized specifically around how your brain has evolved over the past millions of years. And I go through the 3 stages of the brain and why the Frontal Cortex funnel really speaks to that. And really all that is the VSL funnel. But the way that we act, and this is actually to the truth, right? The way I actually create the VSL funnels on the back end with clients and the way that we implement it for clients, it actually is structured in the way of how our brains have evolved, and it speaks to certain things which allows their prospects to get hooked into the VSL funnel and ultimately booking a call. So it's the truth, right? So you've always got to find that fine line in your marketing of, obviously, it needs to be true, but it also needs to be believable. Hopefully that makes sense. They're the 4 core things that you need to be thinking about with your solution. Because again, as I said before, it doesn't matter, really, I mentioned it on this point here, right? It doesn't matter if you're promising a ridiculous outcome. Number one, if they have to jump through 9,000 hoops to get to the outcome, it doesn't matter what the outcome is, they're not going to do it because it's not easy and it requires a bunch of effort and they're not willing to do it, okay? And the second thing is, if they have to wait 4 years to get to the outcome, it doesn't matter again what the outcome is, they're not going to do it, right? And then finally, if they feel as though what you have to offer is the same thing as what they've done in the past which didn't work, again, even if you're guaranteeing the result, it doesn't matter, they're not going to move forward, okay? So there are 4 things on the solution which a lot of really powerful solution, and then you can easily wrap that up into a really good offer, right? You don't want to start at the offer. You want to start at the solution and then go to the offer and create an offer around a really killer solution. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's move on to ensuring quality in any market, because one of the biggest problems I see, and I always hear from, clients before they come on board with us, I hear about just in the space in general, is I cannot get qualified people on the phone. I'm struggling to get qualified people on the phone, right? If you're watching this video right now, you're an agency owner or a coaching business, and you're doing any significant level of volume, you probably ran into that problem in the past, or you might be experiencing it right now. Here's the easiest way that we found to increase quality. Now, this is one of probably 15 things that we run through with each client to make sure we're getting qualified people on the phone, but it's a really important part, which is every market has got a top, middle, bottom. Okay, every single market has got a top, middle, and bottom. Now, your offer should speak to the top of the market. And this is going to be, by the way, whatever the segment of the market is that you're operating in. So again, using an example that I know a lot of people know about is the e-commerce space. So within the e-com space, actually no, let's use this example. Let's say you're serving agency owners. You have a coaching offer for agency owners. You want to, whatever it is, right? Okay, well, if you want to get more qualified agency owners into your funnel, and let's say, for example, a qualified agency owner for you is 10K a month. Well, in your market then, the top of your market is going to be people at 10K is the top, middle might be 5K, and bottom might be beginners, right? Here's the thing. You have to create the offer around the top of your market. You have to create the offer around the top of your market, the highest level person in your market. That's who you got to, number one, create the offer around. And number two, that's who you have to speak to. Even if you can help people in the middle or bottom of the market. Here's why. Because if you speak to the top of the market, right? Every market is a triangle. If you speak to the top, you're going to get everyone. So you're still going to get people in the middle, and you're still going to get people in the bottom. For example, with one of our clients, as I mentioned before, he's got his offer is will guarantee to scale to $1 million a month. He only works with companies really who are doing, his ideal client is somebody doing about $250 a month, right? So in our ads, what do we speak to? We speak to the top of the market. We say, hey, if you're at 300K a month, here's our offer, whatever. My point is we call out people at 300K a month. However, he can still work with people in the middle and the bottom of the market, meaning he can still bring on a client who's only doing 100K a month and still help them out. He can still do that. So why don't we run the ads to that person? Well, here's the thing. If we run the ads to the person who's doing 100K, they then become the top of the market. But the problem is that we're going to get everyone who's at 100K as well as people below. But we will not get people who are above that point. So in this case, we won't get anyone who's at 300K a month if we only call out the people in the market who are doing 100K. We won't get people at 200 or 300K a month. But if we call out people who are at 300K a month, we'll get people at 300, we'll get people at 200, we'll also get people at 100. Does that make sense? So you always want to speak to the top of the market in your messaging. And obviously when you're creating your offer, somebody who's at 300K a month has a wildly different outcome and different desired goal than somebody who's only at 100K a month or 50K a month. So your offer also needs to speak to the person who's at the top of the market. So again, I was speaking to a client the other day. He helps companies who are doing between 10 and 40K a month. I said, hey dude, right, reposition your offer to somebody who's at 40K a month, right? Because that means if you speak to them, we're going to get people at 20, we're going to get people at 10. But if you only speak to the person who's at 10K a month, you're not going to get the people at 40K a month. So that's how you ensure quality, right? Always speak to the top of the market because you'll get everyone below them, okay? Now, I know there's probably an inevitable question, which is, okay, let me answer this first quickly. So when creating your offer, as I say, you want to look at your most ideal client, okay, from your active clients or your past clients, look at who's your most ideal client and build your offer around that person, okay? So if you've got a client right now who is, maybe you've got, let's say, for example, you've got an agency and you run ads for a certain type of person, whoever, it doesn't matter who the person is, right? Whoever your ideal client is, right? But let's say you've got an agency and you run ads. Okay, well, if you've got let's say you've got 25 clients in total and 5 of those clients joined you when each of those clients was at 500K a month, okay? And they were spending 75K a month or more in ad spend. Well, if that's your situation right now, you want to make sure that you create your offer around that person if you want more of those types of people. If you want to, by the way, this is the other thing. If you want to go after the bottom of the market or the middle of the market, There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just that most of the time after, speaking with so many clients and just being in the space for so long, and with my own offer, everyone always wants the most affluent people. They always want the biggest companies. So if that's you, as I say, if you want to speak to the middle or bottom, that's totally fine. But I just know that most people want the bigger companies and whatnot. So that's why I'm saying this, right? But as I say, if you got 25 clients, 5 of them are big dogs, like they're 500K a month, spending 75K a month on ads, your offer should be created around that person. And when I say it should be created around that person, you should look at, okay, out of those 5 clients, they all joined us at 500K a month and they're all spending 100K a month in ad spend. What is this typical result that I'm seeing with those clients right now? Well, roughly right now, we're getting from that 100K a month in ad spend, we're getting 4x on the front end. And again, this is if you're running ads, right? We're getting 4x on the front end and we're picking up another whatever from email marketing. So in total right now, we're generating about 600K a month additional revenue per client, right? Now, obviously, that is only possible if the prospect is or the client is spending the 100K a month. But you should create the offer around that person and then run your ads, or if you're doing outbound, you should do that's the offer that you should promote, okay? Because again, what does that mean? Well, you're speaking to the top of the market. Now, you're still going to get people, so in that case, you're going to get the people who are doing 500K a month and you're going to get everyone below them, okay? So, okay, this is the question that I think you probably have, which is, what do you do if someone books in a call, but they don't qualify? However, you can still help them. So in that instance, they're not at 500K a month. You've said in your ad that you can guarantee this result because this result is based on what, if they're spending 100K, and you know that if they spend 100K a month, they're currently doing 500K, then you can guarantee them $1 million a month, as an example. Well, what do you do if somebody books in a call with you and they're at 200K a month or 100K a month? You know you can still help them. They're still a great client, but you can't get them to $1 million a month in the next 6 months because they've got so much longer to go. They're only going to dedicate 20K a month in ad spend. You can't do it. What do you do in that case? Because they've booked in the call for the offer that you mentioned in the ad. Here's the thing. What you want to do is you want to explain, number one, why they don't qualify. Okay, you want to explain why they don't qualify, and you want to realign the offer around that specific person. That's all you need to do. So for example, with our ads, as I said before, we guarantee 3 qualified sales calls per day for agency owners and coaches. Now, the thing is with that, we average across all of our clients right now, we're averaging around $100 to $200 cost per book call. As I say, we've got some clients who are getting like $60 cost per book calls, but they're just killing it, right? On average, it's around $100 to $200 per call. And so, if we get a new client on board and they want to spend, or they only can spend because maybe they're only at 25K a month, for example, or 20K a month, they're a bit on the lower end, they can only dedicate 100 per day to ads. Well, guess what? It's physically impossible for us to bring that client on board and guarantee them 3 calls a day. What? We're going to book in $30 calls that are all going to be extremely qualified, ready to buy, pre-sold and all. No, of course not. It's just not going to happen, right? And so what do we do? Well, we just explain. At the end of the day, we can only guarantee you 3 qualified calls per day if you're going to put in 500 to 600 per day in ad spend consistently, and you're able to do that, right? Now, obviously, you're unable to do that, which is totally fine, but I know that your goal isn't obviously to get to 100 calls this month anyway, right? That's not really what you're wanting to try and do. You just want to go from a point to where you're only booking in, 5 calls a week. You want to go from that to just booking in consistent 60 to 80 calls per month, right? Okay, well, in that case, provided we're doing $100 to $200 cost per book call, whatever it is, here's what we can do. And you realign the offer or the guarantee around that person. And you'll find that as long as you do it in the correct way, the client will be fine. The prospect will be fine because they understand. As I say, that if you explain why correctly, they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. I understand you can't do that. That makes sense. Despite them getting on the call for the offer that you've claimed in the ad. Does that make sense? Now, as a key here as well, this is a really important key that we found, is you still need to offer them a guarantee, okay? Just make the guarantee something that will be more likely to be achieved based on where that specific prospect is at. It's still doable. I know a couple people in the space who do this and they still do really, really well, but they're also amazing at sales. It's still doable to run an ad with a guarantee, get the prospect on the phone, and then if they don't qualify for the guarantee, it's still possible to sell them on whatever your offer is and have no guarantee. It's just extremely difficult to do. So the best thing to do is still offer them a guarantee, just lower the guarantee based on whatever is a perfect fit for that specific prospect. Okay, hopefully that was useful. Now let's just get into the actual offer itself. To be honest, guys, once this stuff here is done and you know exactly who your ideal client is, who the biggest person is, right, in terms of your client roster, who the most ideal prospect is, and you know kind of what the typical outcomes are for that specific client right now, actually creating the offer is the easiest part, honestly. A few things here, to be honest, like you want to promise obviously a big desirable outcome, okay? This is really key. And this big desirable outcome must be centered around what this top person wants. Obviously, if it's a big desirable outcome outcome is based around what the top person wants, it's going to be what the bottom person wants, right? Because if the top person, again, is easy numbers, they're currently at 100k a month, and they want to get to 500k a month, well, that's something the top person wants. And so, of course, if the bottom person's only at 10k a month, they obviously want to get to 500k a month as well, which is why if you speak to the top of the market, you will still get other people, you know, middle and bottom of the market come through the funnel and booking a call with you. You'll still get them. However, if we was to look at what the bottom person wants, right? Or if we was to look at what your average client, if your average client is at 50k a month when they join, and you have some big clients who are at 200k a month when they join, but you make your offer around your average client of 50k a month, well, that's okay, but just don't expect to get a load of people who are doing 200k a month, because you're then going to speak to the person who's at 50k a month, and maybe their outcome is going to be, we'll scale you to 150k a month, or we'll scale you to a 200k a month. Well, obviously, if someone sees your ad or sees your email or whatever your acquisition is, and they're only at currently at 200k a month, and your offer is, we'll guarantee to scale you to 150 or 200k a month, they're obviously not going to resonate with it. That's why I always say you should make this big desirable outcome should be centered around the top of the market. Now, I literally got a message from a client today, which is why I actually put this line in here. He was like, guys, because I had an onboarding call with him yesterday. It's a new client, was running through you know, pretty much this exact framework with him, a very similar framework. And we went through all of this with his offer. And he sent a message today. He was like, guys, I'm nervous about this offer. And I literally said to him, and like 2 other people on my team literally said, as I sent the message, they said the same thing, which is, if you don't feel nervous about your offer, it's not big enough. It's not bold enough. It's not bodacious enough. You should feel nervous about your offer. Okay. It should be like, okay, we're doing this. That's how you should feel, right? Because if you don't, you can push the boat out more, you can go bolder, okay? And as I said, yeah, this must be the desirable outcome for your highest value client, okay? Now, next thing is we want an extremely attractive time frame, okay? Remember from the above here, the solution should be extremely fast, or as fast as it possibly can be relative to your market, okay? So if your market, like, you know, for example, if you do SEO, the market of SEO kind of knows that it's a longer ramp up time, right? To get results with SEO. So maybe with you, if you can, you know, say you've got an SEO thing and you can say you can do it in 90 days. Well, 90 days is a long time frame. However, for SEO, that's like ridiculously fast. So it's going to be relative to your market, and it also has to be believable. That's the other thing, right? If you have a ridiculous outcome, we'll scale you to a, you know, 500k a month. Or we'll, as I said with me, we'll guarantee you 3 qualified sales calls. If I said, I'll guarantee you 3 qualified sales calls starting from today, no one's going to believe it, right? Same with the revenue thing, right? If we'll scale to 100k a month, 500k a month, next week, this month, in the first 30 days. No one's going to believe it, right? So then it's not going to work, okay? So it has to be extremely attractive, but also it has to be at the point to where if you went even further, it's no longer believable, but you go right up to that point to where it's no longer believable, right? Does that make sense? Ideally, we want it to be done for you, or at least aspects of it, okay? This is the other thing. As I say, with our offer, like, it's not all entirely done for you. There's a huge coaching component and done with you aspect to what we do, but we do run all of our clients' ads. We take over, you know, we book the calls for our clients, but obviously our clients want to scale to 100k, 200k, 300k, depending on where they join us at. They want to scale the company, right? So there's more to scaling their company than just booking sales calls. So we coach on sales, we coach on obviously all this offer stuff, and there's a lot that we do done with you. But the core crux of our offer, which is book more sales calls, will generate you more sales calls. That's the part that we do done for you. And in our ads, that's what we focus on. I don't focus on like, hey, we'll coach you on sales, or hey, we'll coach you on getting a better offer. In my ads, I just push the sales calls and I say, hey, it's done for you, because that aspect of the offer is done for you, right? So ideally, do some kind of component that's done for you. And if you can't, if you want it to be completely coaching based, just so it's obviously more scalable, try and just build it based on frameworks and templates, etc. Why? Because this provides the perspective of it's easy to implement, which takes us back to the solution of, again, we need it to be as easy as possible, and we need it to require zero effort, or as close to zero as possible from an effort perspective. And again, the reason I'm so big on this is just because I know at the start of the year, as I said before, our ads did not work. And guys, I cannot stress this enough. I didn't change the offer. I didn't change anything. All I changed was, and we'll do this done for you. So we'll get you this result done for you, guaranteed in the next time frame, or you don't pay. And that small switch changed the entire trajectory of the offer on cold traffic in particular, okay? And then the final thing is obviously a strong guarantee. So the best ones are just or you don't pay, we'll refund you in full, or you don't pay, plus we'll send you XYZ amount in money, whatever it is. So that's really the offer. If you got any questions on this stuff, let me know. I don't want this video to run too long, but I really wanted to create this training here to go through more specifically the solution aspect, as well as like the ensuring quality side of things as well, because I think this is really useful. So hopefully you found this valuable. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also comment the word offer below in the comment section if you want access to this Google Doc, and I'll send it your way. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.